Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is another video in the series Duel Links Unleashed. The series that asks the question, what happens if your favorite archetype had its full potential in Yu-Gi-Oh's mobile game? Last week we talked about prank kids, so if you want to check out that video, definitely check it out after this one. Today's video, however, is about a very special archetype in the TCG. One that, let's just say, isn't for everyone. Introducing For Hire. Gotta start off with a history, however this one is a lot shorter. It released in July 2018 with the Dark Saviors booster pack, but funny enough, it also released in Duel Links, same time. Which is very funny because compared to the TCG, there's been no single support for this archetype since. We've seen a lot of OCG and TCG support come in throughout the years, especially most recently from the OCG. So let's take a look at the archetype. Let's get started with the card by card. Now, of course, Duel Links has a couple of cards here and there, but is also missing a lot more in terms of the other cards. We currently only have 11 cards in the Duel Links catalog, and in terms of extra deck monsters, oh right, they don't have extra deck monsters in Duel Links. It's crazy how outdated this deck list is, because compared to the TCG that has 2 Link monsters, For Hire has 0, zilch, nada. And it's strange, especially considering the main monsters effects. A lot of them have very similar effects for level 4 and lower, being that during your main phase, you can special summon one For Hire monster from hand except the card that is on field, activating this effect. Notice this is the main monster on field, so you're going to have to normal summon first any of the level 4 or lower monsters. However, the next effects are very interesting in that if a For Hire monster is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can activate effects except during damage step. This is for all of the For Hire monsters, or, according to their wording, all the monsters For Hire. But the main effects are different per For Hire. For example, we got Philo, which allows you to target a monster For Hire in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. We've got ourselves Recon, which allows you to target a set card and destroy it. We've got Dunpan, which allows you to target one face-up card on the field, destroy it. We've got Helmer, which allows you to discard a card For Hire and then draw a card. We've got ourselves Beat, which allows you to add a monster For Hire from your deck to your hand. And we've also got Bravo, which allows you to have all monsters For Hire gain 500 attack defense till the end of the turn. And we've got Seal, which allows you to target one monster For Hire in your graveyard to add it to your hand. Of course, these are all once per turn, however, can allow you to have a huge swarm on the field. Now, we go to the high-ranking monsters. We've got ourselves Dinah, which, if special summoned, can banish cards from your opponent's graveyard up to a number of monsters For Hire you control with different names. This alone is a pretty solid one because it includes itself. Compared to other monsters, as we're going to see, it doesn't. It does a pretty solid DD Crow, if I can add that there, or Called by the Grave, depends on timing, I guess. You can only use the effect once per turn, and then also a lingering effect. Monsters your opponent's control cannot target monsters For Hire for attacks except this one. I've seen some theories get thrown around that this can cause a attack lock. That's cool. But I'm going to have to test that out in the testing segment there, and I'll allow my editor self to come back in and agree to disagree or to confirm that's the case. We've also got ourselves Wiz. Wiz, when special summoned, can gain 500 life points for each monster For Hire you control with different names, except itself. Now that's interesting. Allowing you to gain more life points isn't the best effect, but her secondary effect is very strong too. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, you can discard one card for higher, negate the activation, can only be used once per turn. This is a pretty solid effect for hire monster, a monster for hire. Pardon me. The main thing here is it allows you to negate effects or spell or trap cards. This is pretty solid in general. I don't think I need to explain why. Up next, we've got ourselves Mayhem for Hire, a quick play spell. Target one monster for hire in your graveyard, special summon in defense position. You can only activate this type of card once per turn. Pretty solid card. Not only does cards have that on summon effect, but this one can activate during your opponent's turn because it is a quick play. Next up, we've got the last card in Duel Links. Womp womp. The training for hire for all. The training for hire for. Oof, I'm not doing that one. It's a continuous trap card. If a face-up monster for hire or multiple you control is destroyed by battle or by opponent's card effects, you can target one of those monsters, special summon one monster for hire from your deck whose level is lower than the target's original level. Remember, all these cards have different levels. So, in the event that your opponent has some board wipe or destroys it by battle, it allows you to get another card back on the field. Now, of course, these cards alone are very weak, which is why the TCG has more cards to choose from. We've got ourselves the first monster here, Rex Fright for Hire, a level 2 monster. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one spell or trap for hire from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, if you control a monster for hire, you can activate the quick effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one card for hire in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it if it was a monster. You can only use each effect of Rex once per turn. This is a pretty solid support card. I wonder why it's not in Duel Links. With that graveyard effect, very similar to another card I remember talking about. This is a great way to get cards from the grave to hand or activate the special summon effects as mentioned before. This card should not be here. I'm so sorry about that. Let's go on to the next one, being Sagitta. Sagitta is back to the format of level 5 or higher. If this card is special summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster for hire you control with a different name, except itself. She also has the lingering effect. Your opponent cannot target monsters for hire you control with card effects, except this one. Wild card. Of course, I believe Duel Links would definitely want to on the burn damage, even though it is once per turn. I mean, the math kind of explains it. You've got yourself three monsters potentially. And then itself, so that would be 5, 10, 15. 1,500 damage is nothing to scoff at, folks. Now, if it was 250, like a certain other card I talked about before, that would probably be much better. You've got yourself 750 damage compared to the previously mentioned 150. Now, of course, that monster effect one was nice, or monster damage one was nice, but card effects or card effect lock is pretty cool. But having that ability to abuse the word except this one is pretty cool. Up next, we've got ourselves Raphael, the first Bosch-is monster we've got. Level 8 monster with the effect that if this card is special summoned, you get excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the number of monsters for hire you control of different names, except itself. And if you do, add one of them to hand and shuffle the rest back into your deck. It also has the effect that if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can discard one card for hire to negate the activation. Again, very similar to other cards that we've got here, we've got ourselves a negate effect on the card. You can start to see where similarities come here and there, and how versatile each card bounces off one another. Now, we also have an OCG monster not added in yet, that one being Rex Gale for hire. This is a level 5 compared to level 2, showing a grown-up Rex. If you reveal this card from your hand, special summon one monster for hire from your hand, except itself. Then, special summon this card. Dude, this is a great extender. You can only use each effect once per turn, but still... Or this effect once per turn. Excuse me. If this card or a card is added... I always trip up on this effect. If a card is added from the deck of your opponent's hand by a non-for card's effect, and you control another monster for hire, except during the damage step, draw one card. This isn't once per turn? Oh, it's an OCG card. It's an OCG card. But imagine, okay? We don't have triple tactics in Duel Links, okay? We don't have Max C. But it would be nice to be able to stop other card combos from becoming an issue in the future. Very nice card in general. Very nice. Great start. Great extender. But that is all the monsters. Let's talk about the Link monsters, the extra deck monsters. Starting off, we've got Donner. Donner Dagger for hire is a Link 2 Beast Warrior monster that requires 2 monsters with different types. Notice all of these Link monsters do not mention for hire being needed into their Link material, but you're still going to need those. You can target one monster for hire you control and one monster your opponent controls, destroy them. You can also tribute one monster to special summon one monster for hire from your hand or graveyard with a different original name than the tributed monster. Then, if you tributed a Link monster to activate this effect, you can special summon one more such monster. You can only use each effect once per turn and only once per turn. Hold up. Move out the way, little dude. What the flip? And only once that turn. That is a pretty important ruling because that's what we like to call a hard once per turn. Very important to keep that in mind with the upcoming cards as well. Up next, we've got ourselves the main man himself, Fulgo. Fulgo requires 3 different monsters with different types. And cannot be used as Link material. I wonder why. I wonder if there was a certain card that would be very, very easy to go to without this effect. That also is in Duel Links, don't get me wrong. But anyways, if this card is Link summoned, you can special summon one monster for hire with a different type from the 3 monsters used to Link summon from your deck in defense position. If a card your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can draw 1 card. Then, if you control 3 or more for hire monsters with different names, draw 2 additional cards. That's a pretty nice draw effect. Not always are you going to pull that off, but even with the Duel Links limited monster zones, I think you could pull that off. Finally, we got ourselves our last Link monster. We've got ourselves Keel, Shipwright for hire. 2 monsters with different types. If this card is Link summoned, you can set 1 spell trap for hire or 1 Fandora the Flying Fortress on that in a second from your deck. You can also not special summon for the rest of the turn except monsters for hire. During your opponent's turn, you gain the quick effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 monster for hire from your hand. Then, if your opponent controls a monster with the highest original attack on the field, even if tied, you can special summon 1 more such monster. Again, once per turn. Pretty nice overall. Reminds me of another card that banishes itself from the graveyard. I'm obviously talking about Rex. Who else? Now that spell and trap effect is very nice, allowing you to combo off into cards like, for example, what we mentioned before, Mayhem. However, there's a couple other spells that I'm missing. we've got ourselves the Fandora the Flying Fortress, a card that is not in Archetype. Also not in Duel Links. During your draw phase, before you draw, you can give up your normal draw this turn, and if you do, add 1 monster for hire from your deck to your hand. If you control 5 or more monsters for hire with different names, you can send this card from the field zone to the graveyard and destroy all your opponent's... Destroy all cards your opponent controls? Thank goodness there's the effect that the rest of the turn, your opponent takes no damage, effect, or battle. Now, that is a pretty strong effect. But if you remember, Duel Links doesn't have the option for 5 monsters in zone. So that leaves a conundrum. Okay? You got yourself a situation where you can errata the card. Scratch it to 3. But then it's too easy to pull off the effect. What about 4? 4 is every monster zone. Even then, it's still a lot. And it's still available with the Link monsters. Not in itself, obviously. Duh. But still, this card seems like an impossible demand. I'll talk more about it later, but let's talk about the OCG's version. The Fearsome Flying Fortress is always treated as a for hire card, instantly fixing the card. Monsters for hire you control gain 300 attack for each monster for hire you control of different names. You can only use each effect of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, you can add 1 monster for hire from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. If a face-up monster for hire you control is destroyed by your opponent's card effects, except during damage step, you can special summon 1 monster for hire from your deck. Pretty nice card. Of course, it's an OCG exclusive, so good luck finding that anywhere. But still, it is a very nice card, don't get me wrong. OCG exclusive, but still. Now we've also got our next OCG exclusive one, Storm for Hire. Quick play spell that says, if you control no monsters, special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster for hire from your deck. Then, if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, you can special summon 1 monster for hire from your deck. Again. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except monsters for hire. If you would discard a card to activate the effect of a monster for hire, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead. Wild card effect. I really like this one because it allows you to, instead of discarding a card using the effect of Raphael or Wiz, just banish it. That's the solution to a solid number of these cards if you need to do something else. If you need to, for example, special summon a monster, if you need to negate effects, either or, this card is very, very nice. Very strong starter. Oh, man. We've got ourselves another one, Rookie for Hire. Another quick play spell because, dang, we love our quick plays. Tribute 1 monsters, special summon 1 monster for hire from your hand or deck, whose level is 1 higher or 1 lower than the tributed monster on the field. You cannot declare attacks the turn you activate this card, except with monsters for hire. This is very awesome. Compared to the one that mentions 1 lower, this one also allows you to climb upwards, getting you that level 8 monster or level 5, depending on which one you're trying to go for. Very nice card overall. But finally, we've got one more trap card. This one is a generic trap, secret technique for hire. Target face-up cards on the field, up to a number of monsters for hire you control of different names. Destroy them. Or, if you control a level 8 or higher and a Link 3 or higher monster for hire, you can banish them instead. Ooh, that is nice. However, that, yes, does require you to have Folgo and Raphael on field. So, there you have it. If a level 8 or higher or Link 3 or higher monster for hire is special summoned to your field while this card is in the graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. Very nice card overall, and allows you to build back your field in the event that you need it. Again, very nice overall, and having both on the field allows you to no longer have to worry about the destruction effects of opponents' cards. Very nice OCG exclusive. Too bad we don't got it. But what would happen if we got those? I mean, like in a Duel Links deck list. Let's find out. Here's a 30 card deck list that I've whipped up. Now, of course, this is after a bit of research, so please excuse if it is shoddy, but we do have a couple 1-card combos that could help us out. A couple of Rexes, we've got a couple of the OCG for Higher Storm. We've grabbed ourselves a fair amount of Rexes, just a solid amount of cards here and there that should help us out with the consistency. However, we do have a solid number of other cards as well. Now, please take note that not all of them are good off the rip. We got some cards that could brick our hands, except for this one here. Don't know why I was selecting that there. However, it's okay. We've got plenty of the main cards that we would need that go into our links. Of course, we've also got some other extenders here and there that include some funny ones like Link Party, thanks to their different attributes being available from dark to water to earth. However, also being able to potentially see more different effects if your opponent has Link monsters, which would be really funny. Now we've got some other serious ones that I have seen play, like Nightmare Corrupt Ibili. Yes, this card is in Duel Links. Of course, it allows you to special summon a Link monster on your field, which this guy, of course, its effects are negated, but still having that bigger body on the field is solid. If this card is sent to the graveyard from its owner's control, you can special summon it on your opponent's field, which is a pretty solid card overall. Then we also have some hand traps. I sent 4 slots to designate those generic whatevers. And then same for the extra monster zone. Because there's only 3 for higher monster links, we've got ourselves some support as well. We got the Nightmare cards, Underworld Goddess, and IP for obvious reasons, but we've also got Mannequin Cat, number 29, requiring 2 level 2 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your opponent's field. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while you control this monster, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Special summon 1 monster with the same type or attribute from your hand, deck, or graveyard. It's almost like this card was made for higher. However, that joke would get me demonetized if I had monetization. So I'm just gonna skip the headache. One card you might notice is missing is the field spell. Where is the Flying Fortress? You added the OCG Fearsome, but where is the original? And to be frank, it sucks. It's a bad card. You have to waste a whole turn just to be able to add 1 monster for higher from your deck, and then also, no matter how well you try to errata this card, you are still going to see trouble importing this final effect into the game. Now, I have a solution for this, and that will pop up in the pros and cons. But this is just a hypothetical. What would happen if we added these to the game? Let's go over the pros and cons. Alright, pros and cons. Pro, it's very flexible. No matter how many zones you have compared to Master Duel, seeing these cards be in play shows me that there is a lot of ability to move around and be able to link off when your zones are getting a little bit too full. The 1-card combos is another pro that I see here. Plenty of cards, specifically from the OCG's Storm card, but as well as other ones as well, show great potential in their ability to pop off a combo into these cards here. Number 3, I've got to say, is the playability around staples. Cards like Nibiru and Droll and Lockbird can be played around. surprising enough with such limited fields. Being able to play against all of these hand traps is very important, as people replace valuable slots with hand traps, and being able to, for the future, have that potential draw one along with your opponent allows for players to be cautious with their steps, because you may potentially gain that draw that Rex has on your opponents. Finally, for the pro section, I've got to say that the boss cards are pretty strong. Being 2,400, having a lot of negatability with Wiz and with I can't find him, with Raphael, but most importantly with Secret Technique. Secret Technique is a great board wipe, and it's so easy, now that I've done a couple of testing bits here and there, to be able to get Fogo Raphael with your one card combos. Very, very, very strong trap card, and the best part about it is its ability to bounce back. It's got itself that graveyard effect if a card is special summoned again. That includes level 8 or higher for higher cards, and the Link 3 and higher cards as well, being very, very great for a second round, a turn 3 or 4 even, potentially. But there are some cons. The first con is its reliance on Link monsters. The cards themselves are pretty stuck on the Link train, so in the event that your opponent has some way of negating Link summoning or special summoning overall, you are not really going to find that many strong Link for lower monsters. 1900, sure, that's strong, but everything else is a pretty weak card basically there. Now, of course, a majority of your opponents will let you special summon, which leads me on to the next one, and that is inconsistency. Unless you grab your one card combos right away, you are going to be facing a couple of different play paths. And let alone someone tries to nib or droll you, now you gotta try to find a way to work around it. It is a very complicated deck, don't get me wrong. In the right hands or the right pilot, you can see a lot of success. However, for an inexperienced player, you definitely will be facing a lot of losses due to time, or heck, even due to your own play errors. And finally, it's Konami themselves. Who in the world is going to tell Konami that adding Fogo is a good idea? Because let me tell you, I bet they think this is going to be a bad idea. Adding these cards would definitely shape the meta, being something as per Tri-Brigade's level of detail causes a lot of issues with the metagame. It can see a lot of play, but the minute something stronger happens, it will fade out fast. But as for themselves right now, as for their ability, they are still pretty strong. Don't get me wrong, adding Link Party was a fun idea, but mixing in some fossil digs here and there could probably see a lot better success, since these cards are, guess what, dinosaurs, like Rex here, or like his other form, Rex here. Real quick, editing me here, forgot to add the part about the skill, because there was a lot of dog barking in the background. Again, sorry about that. The main idea for a skill would probably be a very simple one, adding that field spell I was LARPing on earlier, instead of just having it be a card. You know what I'm saying? Where like you just put it on either way. And then disregarding that secondary effect, since, again, incorporating that in Duel Links would be a very bad idea, even with any errata. But that was just my thoughts on it. I'm going to cut over to the part now where I ask about your opinions or whatever. Potential deck list would be very, very nice for the game. Or heck, would it be the worst thing to add to this game? Depends, really. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys later. What's a good outro bit? Dang. Like what? Seriously, I have no idea what a good outro bit would be.